All right, so chapter 8 on vitamins, part 2. We're going to focus on the water soluble vitamins now and look at some of the more popular ones. So, when we remember, or when we talk about vitamins, remember there were the two different types. You had your fat soluble vitamins, your vitamins A, D, E, and K. And then you have your water soluble vitamins, meaning that they dissolve readily in blood, readily in water, and they are easily excretable by the kidneys in the urine. In the body, water-soluble vitamins do function very well as coenzymes, meaning that they are going to work with enzymes to help regulate chemical reactions in the body. So they're kind of that precursor there. Many of the chemical reactions in the body, in the metabolism of the macronutrients, need not only vitamins, they need vitamins as these coenzymes, which we looked at a little bit earlier in part 1. So they function that way. The first one we were going to talk about is thiamine. Okay. Thiamine, also known as B1. So this is the start of the multiple type of umbrella of different types of B vitamins. Thiamine is used to make a coenzyme that is involved in specifically carbohydrate metabolism and certain amino acid metabolism and also neurotransmitters. So very important function. Mainly found in your whole grains, your enriched foods, your breads, cereals, nuts, and legumes, that kind of thing. The recommended daily allowance is 1.2 uh, milligrams in males and 1.1 in females. And the deficiency of thiamine is what we call beriberi here. Causes fluid to accumulate in the legs, also known as edema. Um, there again, not really able to get a thiamine toxicity since it is readily excreted in the urine. The next one here is riboflavin, known as your B2, and it there again acts as a or helps to utilize these macronutrients for metabolism. You see that found in dairy products and um, and you see the RDAs there for males and females. Deficiency there again rarely occurs, and toxicity is never known one. Okay, riboflavin mainly found in your whole grain foods, your dairy products, as we talked about that, like cottage cheese, um, fortified cereals, and so forth. Then we have B3, which is also known as niacin. It is yet another coenzyme. Also, the body uses niacin um, to synthesize two particular coenzymes, but also several hundred different types of reactions as far as metabolizing macronutrients and mm, found very similar to where B2 vitamins, the riboflavins, are found in your rich cereals, beef, liver, tuna, that kind of thing. The next one is, the deficiency in niacin is known as pellagra, which is a type of dermatitis. Um, Usually, yeah, dermatitis or the 4 Ds of pellagra, dermatitis, diarrhea, and dementia, and then eventually death, as you see here. But there again, very hard to get a deficiency and very hard to get a toxicity. The next one here is vitamin B6. Okay, and participates in the synthesis of iron, the iron containing portion of hemoglobin. Remember, hemoglobin is that protein that helps to, or that does carry oxygen on your erythrocytes, transports oxygen in your red blood cells. So it is involved in the coenzyme for that particular metabolic process. Then you have B9, which is known as folate. Folate is kind of a group of compounds and found in foods and also folic acid. You have your food sources of folate are your green leafy vegetables and orange juice, obviously, with folic acid, but very readily absorbable, found in your leafy green vegetables and your fortified cereals. Okay. A folate deficiency. Now, this one you will possibly see, and this is why folic acid is fortified in the wheat products in, I know, the American diet, because deficiencies in folate have been found and were common at one point before we began fortifying foods. The first type of deficiency is what we call megaloblastic anemia. So this affects the way the red blood cells are able to function, and it affects how rapidly they divide. And when they divide too quickly, they lead to deficient red blood cells, which is megaloblastic anemia. And then also, folate deficiencies have been linked to and do cause what we call spina bifida, or what we call neural tube defects here, or encephaly. And this is preventable due to the fortification of wheat products and early detection now of pregnancies and possible prenatal vitamins. Okay, but there again, if you're eating a well-balanced diet of your grains, your fruits and vegetables, unlikely to occur, and especially now with the fortification of wheat products in the United States. Okay. Vitamin B12. You see where vitamin B12 here, your animal sources, your meats, your milks, shellfish, that kind of thing. It's yet again a coenzyme for your homocysteine metabolism and involved in the fat around the neuron known as your myelin sheath. Okay. Cells do require vitamin B12 to make the coenzyme that is involved in certain metabolic processes. And absorbing vitamin B12 can be a little tricky. Absorbing natural vitamin B12 in food does require a pretty complex multi-step process that is triggered by the hydrochloric acid in the stomach and binding with other types of complexes in the duodenum of the small intestine until finally absorbed in the lumen. So vitamin B12 kind of complicated in how it's absorbed and can be one of the types of deficiencies found in people with, like I said, irritable bowel syndrome, different types of malabsorptive disorders. So, in other words, people who also do not take in animal products need to, such as your vegans or certain types of vegetarians, need to be careful um, and make sure that they are getting fortified sources of B12, like fortified soy milks, nutritional yeasts, or supplements. in order to make sure they are getting enough of vitamin B12. Okay. Then we have vitamin C is a very popular one. Vitamin C, you have probably heard about as one of the more studied vitamins and how it has been linked to possibly helping to alleviate the signs and symptoms of the common cold, and it might have some medicinal purposes. So, vitamin C, also called ascorbic acid, very common in your fruits and vegetables, your bright yellows and greens, as you see here. And the function of vitamin C is multiple. It's involved in collagen synthesis. And remember, your ligaments, your gums, your tissues, your tendons, bone are all types of or involve collagen. So it affects a lot of different parts of the body. It is one of the major antioxidants that we spoke about back in part one, and it's involved in immune system here. It's involved in creation of bile and neurotransmitters, as well as many hormones of the body. So vitamin C, one of those, that's a pretty big one when it comes to on the vitamin scale. When you are deficient in vitamin C, it can be shown in several different ways because of its multifunctions here. One of the more famous vitamin C deficient diseases is scurvy, with you see the petechiae here, these pinpoint hemorrhages under the skin, um, bleeding of the gums. Can eventually lead to death if untreated, like I said, because of the neurotransmitter and hormonal function of it. So, also, you may think back to your history classes where scurvy was quite popular before vitamins were discovered. As far as pirates and people who would go off to sea, they'd be without fruits and high vitamin C vegetables for months on end and develop scurvy until eventually they figured out, hey, if we put a couple lemons on the ship and the sailors eat a bite of lemon every now and then, it will avoid this particular illness. And within that lemon, obviously, and oranges, is your vitamin C. So 75 milligrams is the recommended daily allowance for females, 90 milligrams for males. There is an increase here for people who smoke to add a little bit more. And vitamin C, since it is a type of acid, can cause gastrointestinal upset and can lead to, since it is a water soluble vitamin and is filtered out in the kidneys, it can lead to some oxalate discrepancies there in the kidney. Vitamin C is one of those that people sometimes do take for mega doses to prevent illnesses, one of those medicinal effects. And it's been one of the only ones that has really led to uh, showing some type of benefit. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. To real quickly finish up on chapter 8 and vitamins, looking at vitamins as medicine. And you can read this in your textbook, and it really does go into some detail as far as each individual vitamin, like vitamin A, B6, niacin, and some of the specific research involved in that. And it is quite interesting. But it kind of boils down to more research is needed. Clinical trials have been conducted, and pretty much just food first. Okay, whenever possible, eat whole foods first, and making sure you're getting a variety of whole foods, and don't rely on a pill really to improve or prevent illnesses. But let's go through them real quickly. Vitamin A in your carotenoids. possibly or is being studied to reduce the risk of certain types of cancers and heart disease. Clinical trials do not support this. Okay, so eat whole foods. Vitamin A, however, has been has been shown to help um, improve the symptoms of certain age-related eye diseases, such as your macular degenerations. And they do have what's called eye health supplements or certain eye vitamins that are very high in carotenoids and your luteins as far as helping with the symptoms of certain eye-related diseases. Okay, but more research is needed. As far as vitamin E, there again, more research is needed. Okay, the studies so far have really failed to show that vitamin E is helpful in megadoses or to prevent certain types of cognitive impairments. Same thing with niacin. Okay, be careful. Same thing with vitamin B6. Be careful. This is kind of what scares me as a dietitian, and I look at some of these mega doses that patients are taking of these over-the-counter supplements, trying to relieve certain symptoms. Um, there's just not enough research to be able to really understand the impact of these megadoses on the human body. And remember, a lot of these megadoses have only been around for like the last 20, 25 years. So, as in pill form, okay? So, we really don't know the impact yet. The only one that does show some impact is vitamin C. And there again, it is only showing impact so far as reducing the duration and severity of cold symptoms. So you see taking high doses of vitamin C, taking emergency type powders to help with the symptoms of the common cold. It does not prevent it, but research does support um, it reducing the duration. Okay. But it does not support as far as cardiovascular disease risk or cancer risk for deterrent there. So the final thoughts on supplements, obviously, um, food first. Okay. Consume a diet high in fruits and vegetables. I hate to be kind of a broken record on that, but it's the truth. Okay. Um, Healthy diet, healthy nutrition, as we've been studying here this semester, is your main um, uh, the main thing you can do to prevent chronic diseases. The last part of the chapter here looks at diet and cancer. And I think we dive into cancer a little bit later on in the in the semester. I think they put this particular link here, this 8.5, looking at common cancer sites, identifying possible associations between certain foods and cancers, and some things you can do to reduce your risk of cancer. So remember, cancer is mutations in cells that you a mutated cell that eventually grows uncontrollably, can be benign if it's an enclosed tumor, or can become invasive and become malignant if it spreads. Most cancers are involved in aging, okay, just as we get older, having a family history, and then being exposed to carcinogens such as tobacco use, radiation exposure, environmental exposures, those kind of things, chemicals, sunlight, etc. Especially certain types of viral infections, such as the human papillomavirus for cervical cancer, certain types of hormones, estrogen-based cancers, and then, of course, certain types of foods that are highly processed or carcinogen. Um, I don't want to say, yeah, well, possible diet-related carcinogenic foods, such as your um, highly processed meats, um, your alcohols, nitrates, those kind of things. Okay. So reducing your cancer risk, limit alcohol consumption, always maintain a healthy weight because obesity is one of those risk factors as well. Healthy lifestyle and fruits and vegetables, okay, plant-based, healthy fruits and vegetables, healthy meats, um, whole grains, high quality proteins, okay, to reduce your risk of cancer. Next week for chapter 9, we talk about water and minerals. So, another two exciting topics. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you.